Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts
Look at
now.
you with that pashmina on. That is your color, girl. Oh, I love that picture in the background. Where's that? In your living room?
Yeah, this is my living room.
Oh, it looks
And
good.
that painting in the background is by a friend of mine.
Really?
Yes. I collect a lot of local art.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
it's a local
I collect a lot of local art too. I just don't have enough wall space. I really don't.
Yeah.
I wish. And then, you said, well, let me rotate pieces out, but you get emotionally attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
And look at you, you have two Tiffany lamps. I'm scared of you.
I love beautiful things. I'm a typical Libra. My birthday was actually on Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Libra. Thank you. I love anything artistic, beautiful. To me, living beautifully is just like oxygen for me.
I know. And it is a gift to live. Brains, we are living large here on the edge, the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, the responses are never dull, and we are all brains. Look at that. Look at that. This is Ana Maria Figueredo. I said her whole name. She's changed it now. Anna Red. And she is on fire. I'm so glad to talk to her. We are celebrating breast cancer thrivers, and she is a survivor of breast cancer. She just got the good news in May. We're going to talk about diagnosis. We're going to talk about, being able to live with this without fear, without anxiety, trusting your intuition and resilience, but also setting off liability. Brains, are you protected? Are you protected? Okay, I ask you these questions. Do you have insurance? Not just car insurance. Do you have long-term life insurance? Do you have life insurance, period? Do you have sometimes cancer protection? Because it's not just when people pass away. It's also the liability that you face when someone gets sick. Are you a person that has a spouse or a child? Or maybe you live alone and you don't have anybody else to take care of you. So we're going to talk about all that and then some. And she's a lover, like she said, of fine things. So I'm going to ask her some questions about some fine things in her life. Help me welcome her to the edge, Brains. Where are we at? We're on the edge, okay? And we have Anna Red. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. We had to do some things. We had to shuffle some things around and reschedule. And you know what? Because you had work and you have an important job. You sign people up for insurance.
Yes.
Is that medical insurance, life insurance? What type of insurance?
Anything that insures a human being from cradle to grave. Because I do a lot of Medicare this time of year as well. Medicare season starts on Friday.
We're going to talk about that. But before we get, because I'm going to make a note, before we get into that, tell us a little bit about your heritage. You are a beautiful, exotic looking thing. And tell us a little bit about your heritage and your upbringing.
Okay. Actually, as I was telling you earlier, the Figueredos, which is my birth last name, they are actually originally from northwestern Spain. And they left Spain and went all over the world. I have met Figueredos even from India.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And there are a lot of Figueredos in Brazil and a lot in Venezuela. And mine happened to be from Cuba, but they weren't there directly. When they first left the old country, they went over to Jamaica for a couple of centuries or a century and a half. So it's funny, that on Monday, on my birthday, I actually made some curry goat.
No, you didn't, girl. Was it good?
Yes,
I know it was.
Yes, I did. And you put some reggae on and you will see.
Oh, yes, with some rice and peas and some plantains. Oh, my God. And a bottle of ting. You got to get you a bottle of ting.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back to Jamaica. We like to rent a villa, girl, and I'll be feeling like I am all that. I have a housekeeper, I have a cook, I have a driver. It is worth it, you know.
Let me know. I'll join you over there. I'm so close. I live in Fort Lauderdale, so it's just it's like an hour flight away. It's so
You
so
still have
close.
some peeps over there? Are there any Figuerettos still over there? Your family?
I really don't know. I really don't know because the Figuerettos left Jamaica, went to Cuba, and actually they were kicked out of Jamaica too. I think that, you know, I'm a bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean type. Then we got kicked out of Cuba before the revolution and settled in New York, and that's where I was born.
Okay. I wanted to go to Cuba so bad. So everything had opened up with President number 44. Girl, they get so annoying. I call them by their number. I don't even call them by their name. And then everything was turned backwards with 45. Couldn't go back over there. I've always wanted to go to Cuba. It's been a calling for me. Have you been to Cuba?
Never. Never. And actually, when my dad passed away, there were some emails that came to me from relatives of his that I never met. And my emails were intercepted and never got to them. So I got emails from them, you know, like telling me off, saying, hey, you never answered me. Why do you think you are? And da 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 da. And it wasn't my fault.
Wow.
And that is how much control this government has. Because people kept on saying, oh, but once your dad is dead, or once your, you know, Fidel Castro is gone or whatever, you know, there's not going to be any issues. Hello? Yeah.
It's a culture. But, you know, we better be careful because I'm seeing a lot of things changing here in the United States. Every day, our democracy is threatened. And people don't realize the freedoms and the independence. Just like you said, just to be able to have medical insurance, to be able to go to the doctor, to be able to have a choice and a say over your medical care, to be able to leave a legacy for your children, to be able to, you know, get your car fixed when you had an accident. Some joker just tore up our car, ran into it, drunk driving. And if we hadn't have had insurance, it would have been a total loss. So insurance is very, very important. So are you married?
No, divorced.
Okay. And do you have children?
No.
No. Okay. So now you are a single woman.
Yes.
Living by yourself, taking care of yourself, and you get the diagnosis that you have a life-threatening illness.
Yes. And actually, I was not single at that moment. I wasn't married, but I was living with somebody, starting a life with somebody. And when I got the diagnosis, it didn't go over too well.
You know what? I hear that. That, you know, partners, you know, as a male.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't assume no more, honey. I don't know. But
for me, if it were the right woman, I'd let you know too.
Hey, you know, ain't nothing wrong with it. But so you're with this guy, and all of a sudden, he doesn't accept the news. He probably takes it worse than you do.
Well, actually, it was even before I got a diagnosis, when I was just, because I started feeling strange and I was in pain. I felt my breasts like were, you know, when you have PMS and your breasts get really sensitive and tender and they hurt. I felt like that all the time. And I was already postmenopausal, so it wasn't PMS. And he didn't take it well because, of course, I didn't want to be squeezed or, you know what I mean?
Right. Don't fondle him, get back.
Yeah, it was like he would give me a hug and it was like, ow, you know?
And
well,
a lot of people are told, but you know, a lot of people are told that pain is not associated with breast cancer.
That's what I heard too.
Wow.
That's why I'm saying that you have to listen to yourself, to your body, because even when I went to the doctor, she didn't feel anything when she did the regular exam, just in the office. And she said, there's nothing there. And I said, well, I'm due a mammogram anyway, aren't I? And she goes, yeah. And I said, do you mind? I don't mind paying extra, but can I also get a sonogram? because after 50, your breasts become thicker. That tissue becomes thicker, and not everything is seen on a mammogram. But a sonogram goes deeper. So, but the thing is, she said, no, at your age, it's covered. I didn't know that. Nobody ever told me that. And I used to get my yearlies all the time, and I have absolutely no history. But I knew there was something there.
Mhm.
And when I got the mammogram done, nothing. But then with the sonogram, when they were doing the first breast, they were there, oh, this is normal at your age. I kept on hearing at your age,
Mm.
you know, which is not that pleasant.
Exactly. What is that age?
Yeah. And then on the second one, suddenly there was silence. And I said, oh, you found it, didn't you?
Mm.
I said, this is very suspicious. So from there was a biopsy. And of course, you know, I found out that in fact it was cancer. But then the choice was to just get a lumpectomy because it was just something, you know, the size of maybe, I don't know, maybe like this, you know, something like that.
Mm.
And no, a lumpectomy. And I said, I don't know. Why don't we just take both of them off?
Mm.
I'm not going to do this. And I know myself, I'm not going to do it again. It's too much poking and prodding. So then there were a couple of more biopsies because they did find some questionable areas. And they didn't really see too much about it or anything. And they kept on saying, no, lumpectomy. And I said, no, I said, do I have a choice? And they said, yeah. And I said, let's get rid of them. When the pathology came back a month later, well, actually, even before then, a week later, once just the tissues were taken out, they found 5 time bombs on my other breasts that could have become cancer in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, we don't know. But it was already like the seed was there. And then after a month, I went to the oncologist, and she said there were like 2 more tumors in there. And by that time, I just didn't hear anything. I saw her mouth moving.
Right.
Because I was there like, oh, you know? But luckily it didn't get to my lymph nodes. I didn't need radiation. I didn't need chemo. And why? Because I caught it before science would have.
You trust your intuition.
Yes.
You know what's going on. Exactly. You know exactly what's going on.
Right.
I think.
And like you told me when we first met that I have this Native American thing going on. Yeah, my great grandmother was Native, a Caribbean Native. And maybe it was that cultural thing that my father did share with me about getting more in touch with the earth and with yourself and stuff, that I knew in my body that there was something wrong.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to be your own advocate and push for what you want, demand for what you want, but also have the insurance to cover what you want. We were talking earlier, we're talking about Medi-Cal enrollment. I have no idea of where we are now. Is the affordable air, it costs you. But the Affordable Care Act, is it still in existence? I know that people were, lobbying against it. They were trying to reverse it. Where are we at when it comes to Medi-Cal and socialized medicine here in the United States?
Well, socialized medicine doesn't exist. That's not happening. And I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. However, for people that make a certain amount of money, that fit in a certain range, there is insurance that is subsidized by the government. And you have to make, I don't know, say like for an individual, somewhere between $12,800 and $45,000. If you're in that range, you can get some help. And it's all figured out through the IRS. So you have to be a good tax filer.
Oh, right.
It's all based on your relationship with Uncle Sam. Or if you have people that are your dependents, you know, that don't have proper documentation or haven't been working and don't have a relationship with the IRS, you can still help them out if you file them, if you declare them as dependents on your IRS. So that is still alive and well. And actually, I believe it's got stronger last year because open enrollment was extended until August, actually this year, until August 15th. So
Well,
people
there were people that were fighting it tooth and nail and saying, oh no, we don't want Obamacare. But these are some of the very same people that need to go and get that COVID injection,
right.
or has had someone in the hospital because they've contracted COVID, or they need to go and get a test. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You don't want one thing, but you want something else.
Right, right.
What would you say to people right now about the program? I mean, I know that, you know, you're not at liberty to go into all of the nuts and bolts, but really, do you think that this is something that they should take advantage of and how important it is to sign up?
Absolutely, because first of all, there's no such thing as pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what condition you might have, you are not going to be denied insurance. That before this, the Affordable Care Act, people that had anything, I mean, there were people that I tried to insure that just took like Wellbutrin or something silly, that sometimes people don't even have depression when they take Wellbutrin. Sometimes they just want to lose weight. You know, there are a lot of different reasons people will take certain medications, but if certain medications came out, they were denied. Or if somebody in the household was pregnant, they were denied. It's just insane how many things happen when pre-existing conditions are an issue. There is absolutely no prejudice. You can be of any walk of life and any variation of human, and you will still get coverage. Even if you don't fall into the parameters where you get help financially, you can still pay for it out of pocket and have some really good coverage. There are people that I know that I insure that pay full price, but guess what? They're getting full coverage. Everything is covered that is medically necessary. It's not going to take care of liposuction or a new nose, or, you know, you're not going to become a Kardashian with one of these.
Right. You can't.
But
Everybody, my girls, the Kardashians, they were my girls. I've met them a few times. They good people, but they just boom. They like all of that. You know, that's their money. But again, cosmetic surgeries are not included. And some of the things, like I need to see a specialist, a dermatologist. They consider that a cosmetic surgery. If it's something that, what I need to get done, they consider a cosmetic surgery. So it's just a lot that is going on out there in the world. And a lot of people are afraid to come out of the shadows, again, like you said, because of their ethnicity. They're afraid that ICE is going to be involved, that, you know, they're going to be exposed. So they sit in silence and they suffer in silence. And it's awful. So basically what people need, you said they need to pay their taxes, have some sort of record of income, and ID. And that's pretty much what they need?
Yeah, well, they need to have some sort of status, even if it's just a social security number or some sort of visa, you know, but don't go through life uninsured, because you never know. You never know what can happen, especially in this age of COVID, you know. GoFundMe is not insurance. And please, let me say this again. Let me look into the camera.
Yes.
GoFundMe is not insurance. And as somebody that I saw that is affiliated to the work I do, she said, I don't know you that way. You know, you know, I mean, and don't create that burden to your family, because you don't know. The thing is that right now with COVID, we don't know. You don't know if you're going to be susceptible to this or not.
And it's not going away, brains. Okay, this is like the flu, baby, tuberculosis, rubella, the measles. It's here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It is, you know, blanketed the entire world. And like you said, having insurance is very important, but people don't think about that. They say, well, you know what? I need to either pay my insurance premium, or I need to get gas in my car, or I need to pay my light bill. You can get a small term life insurance policy, or you can get whole life. Can you explain really the difference between the two? I know, but some of my brains may not know.
Okay. Well, a term insurance is probably the easiest and less expensive type of insurance to get. You can get it for an increment of, to be covered for 10 years, for 15 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. And if you're at a certain age, it's not going to be 30 years anymore, of course, because of life expectancy. But that will pretty much give you the most affordable way to take care of your family and even of yourself, because there's a thing called living benefits, and that's something that I'm going to be benefiting from right now. That if you get an ugly diagnosis, if you get cancer, if you get MS, if you have a stroke, a heart attack, there are a whole bunch of different categories of things that could go wrong. You can get a portion of that money paid out to you. So, to give you an example, if you have a policy that's for $100,000 for when you die, to go to your children or to your spouse or whatever, and you get a diagnosis of breast cancer, let's say the way I did, depending on the company, you can get 30, 40, 50% of that paid out to you. And you still have your life insurance.
Okay, but you have it less than 30, 40, 50%. Right. So people don't get twisted. Don't think you have $100,000 and you get, 40,000. You don't have 100,000 left. You got 60,000 left. Just do the math. Understand what that is. Right. When you get paid out, now that is like a whole life.
No, that's a term.
Okay.
Term has living benefits as well now.
Oh, wow.
Now, a whole life policy can also accrue money. And there are different types. Like my personal favorite is an index universal life, because the money that accrues is actually working in the market. So you are actually investing at the same time, and it's tax-free investment. You are investing at the same time that you're covering your what and your family.
I remember once upon a time, well, everybody had that. The Gerber life insurance policy.
Yes.
Who is that? That's your baby. What's your baby's name?
Bijou.
Bijou? Oh, we'll have to meet her, right?
Yeah, I'll bring her up.
We'll have to meet her before it's over with.
Yes.
But as soon as you had a child, that's the first thing they gave you was the information on breastfeeding, and then an application to sign up for the Gerber life insurance policy. Is that still in existence?
I don't know. I've never represented Gerber, actually.
Wow.
To be completely honest with you, but there is a thing called the $1 Million Baby life insurance, that when you have a baby, you can get a life insurance that by the time they're a certain age, they will be a millionaire.
Wow.
But I mean, the real thing for that is not, because most people can't afford to pay a huge amount monthly. And I try to help people and make sure that they get something they can afford. But you could provide for a nice nest egg or a college fund by the time they come of age, which is great. Not everybody's going to go to school.
No, they're not.
But if they're not going to go to school, maybe they can get a home.
Right. Or a condo, or an apartment to get out of my house.
Right. Yeah. So that works both ways. So, you pay now, you pay later.
I know. So tell me, what are some of the fun things that, that you have really learned to value and appreciate after your diagnosis? You had a lot to think about. You were going through cancer. You were trying to dodge the bullet of COVID. You know, if you weren't knocked down by one, you might have been knocked down by other. What has all of that taught you, and what have you really learned to cherish and value for yourself?
Well, I'll tell you something, that the most wonderful gift I had in this whole process and with my conversations with God, not to get religious on you, but when
Get
you're
religious,
alone and
girl. There's no problem on the edge, girl. We believe
yeah,
in God.
you know, you have your conversations with God, and you do have all those questions like, why me? And even if you survive like I did, why me? I mean, it's why me, and why this, and why did this have to happen? Why did I have to lose my relationship? Even my dog died. The dog that I had before died a week before my double mastectomy.
Mm.
You know, you just start looking around and saying, why? You know, you don't get it. But I learned how to value myself more. I think that that's something that a lot of people suffer from, especially women, is self-worth. And I really felt my value, especially when I picked up and left the situation that I was in. Because if somebody doesn't love me for who I am and how I am, and with whatever is going on, it's time to go. It's kind of like that Nina Simone quote, leave the table or love isn't being served.
Mm.
Or something to that effect. But it basically, she was saying, you know, just get out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And got a great apartment here that you're looking at right now, and started a new life and really reevaluated everything.
So
And
when you looked at yourself,
myself. I'm sorry.
so when you looked at yourself in the mirror, if you don't mind me asking,
No.
and your breasts were gone,
Oh.
what was that like? Because you know, women determine their beauty, their femininity, by their
Yes.
breasts, by their hair, you know, if nothing else.
I know. Well, I'll tell you, when I woke up, I had never had a surgery before. When I woke up after my surgery, that saved my life, I looked down and I was flat chested for the first time since I was a little girl, because I was an early bloomer. And that was like, wow. And it's so funny because I had people who tried to support me, and you know, including one gentleman that had prostate cancer. And he goes, "Oh, Anna, I'm so sorry. You know, I know how it is." And I said, "You know what? My self-worth is not on my boobs, you know?" And actually a month later, I got implants. It was also covered by insurance. Now it's covered because people do go through mental illness because of losing their breasts, because like you said, it's part of people's self-esteem and people's, you know, association with what it means to be a woman.
Right. You know, or and after they've had ovarian cancer or they've had a hysterectomy, they have all these different myths about you know, they will never be pleasured again, and they won't be able to reach a climax, that they're less than a woman, that they're going to grow a beard.
Right.
All of those things, you know, and they're myths. Everybody is different. Everybody is going to go through different things, go through different head trips over and over again. They're always going to be worried about, okay, if this comes back, you know, what am I going to do if it comes back in a different place? But we have to forge ahead, because tomorrow is not promised. Okay?
No,
It's not promised. So you have to live for the day. And I'm glad that you were able to live through this, but not only live through it, you wrote about it. You wrote 2 incredible books. Tell us about the books that you're in.
Well, actually, the books are not about cancer. That book will come, but I have one book. My first book is The Secret Art of Selling Insurance, because I'm also a sales coach, and I also hire insurance agents that want to learn how to do things ethically. And then I also wrote, right before getting breast cancer, The Secret Art of Non-Toxic Relationships. That is basically a book on journaling. That this book, actually, I wrote it with the thought of a beautiful organization that a dear friend of mine, Hilda Hall, has, where she takes ladies who have served time who are being reintegrated into society, and helps them build businesses. But there's a lot of things that have to go into building a business. And it doesn't matter if you're selling insurance or if you're going to do anything else, you have to get your head straight. And one of the ways is getting rid of the toxins that are in there. And journaling is a great way to do it. I mean, it's wonderful to have therapy, but not everyone believes in therapy. Not everyone can afford therapy. Not everyone qualifies to get therapy. But we all have nonsense going on in our heads. And this book kind of helps you navigate through that nonsense and put it into writing and take a look at it and say, okay, you know, this is the barrier between me and success. Because usually that's what it is. You know, people talk about the fear of failure and the fear of success, but it's usually just the garbage we already have in our heads,
Right.
that we just have to filter out. It's like old news a lot of times too. I mean, people that are still
Exactly.
worried about what happened with mommy and daddy. Come on,
Right.
you're like middle-aged or you know, that's enough. You know,
You know,
we gotta stop playing the blame game.
Right, and we have to stop playing small.
Yes.
You are not your circumstance. You're a victim of, but also ownership. What part did you play in that? You know, because we all play a part in our own life story. We are the observers of our life. We are the actors. We are, you know, a spirit having a human experience. And we have to not be so sensitive about everything. We have to still learn to laugh. I was just watching a comedian's, and he got a whole lot of grief for a lot of things that he said, but it was funny as hell.
Yeah.
So you have to laugh to keep from crying.
Right.
So let me ask you some random questions.
Sure.
Okay? What makes you laugh?
Oh my goodness, just about everything. I just think life is so ridiculous. And it's probably one of the reasons why I've been able to, you know, beat cancer and just be pretty healthy throughout my life, is that, you know, stuff happens and you can't let it destroy you. And a lot of times you just have to laugh it off.
You do, absolutely.
Even the painful stuff.
Exactly. What are 3 things that you can't live without?
French perfume. I think that's number 1. Soap and water.
I heard that. And then you put the perfume on. Some people put the perfume on and ain't seen no soap and water.
No, I need the soap and water too, you know?
And the 3rd thing?
Oh, the soap and water is going to be 1?
Okay, so soap and water, that goes with the French perfume. Okay,
yeah. And connection. I think that life without connection is not worth living. To connect, the whole idea of your brain. I just love this. I adore this. Brain, I love you guys. I love what you are doing, April. That connecting with people is so beautiful. And helping them become everything that they can be, whatever that is.
Yeah, that was something I knew about myself at a very early age, that I was a connector and a communicator. And it wasn't because I talked a lot. It was because the information that was sourced through me ended up really being valuable for me as well as others. You know, helped me heed off a lot of the dangers in my life, and made me really smart. You know, I'm not a woman with a degree. I didn't go to college. I got a ghetto PhD, but I'm real smart and I've made a whole lot of money. Sometimes you can have as many degrees as a thermometer and still not know what temperature it is. So that doesn't mean a whole hill of beans. All right. So
before I have to cut you off, I have to tell you something that I find you deliciously curious.
Ooh, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, it's really great. And you know, just to kind of chime in on the show, I have some of the most incredibly heady people like you that are willing to be vulnerable, to be authentic, and to show up and be accountable and make corrective action. That's what a brain is. It's a place where you edit and filter information. And that's why I nicknamed my listeners brains, and they love it.
I love it.
They love it. Thank you. All right. So now back to you. Where's somewhere on your life list that you'd like to travel that you haven't been to?
Ooh. Well, actually, before the pandemic hit, I really wanted to go to China.
I've been, and it's amazing. Go. You got it.
Yes. I want to go. I've always, since I was a very small child, I had a fascination with everything Asian. I was born the year of the dragon. I collect dragons. I love Buddhism. It's just, I love the foods. All the Asian foods are like amazing. I just have I don't know, maybe in a past life I was Asian. Who knows?
Well, I was Asian in a past life. And when I went on my trip, I knew it was a spiritual quest. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, the driver told us, because we lived, grew up highbrow. We had a private driver and everything. He says, "Oh, on your itinerary, I see that you need to go to the doctor." And I said, "No, I don't need to come to the doctor." He says, "But it's a part of your destiny." Long story short, I get there. I have this doctor that comes in that checks my liver, my kidney, my spleen, my tongue, and my eyes. That was it. He told me about my past life, my present life, and what I could most likely expect in the future. And he was on point.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful. And I love the way that the Chinese believe in preventative medicine. Yes. Here in the United States, we're more retroactive. We want to fix it after it's been broken. We want to cut it out. We want to give it a pill, instead of people really taking that seriously and trying to do what they can to prevent and dodge a bullet before something happens to them. So what made you want to get a dog?
Oh, well, they are just the most wonderful companions. Oh, she's fast asleep. Bijou. Oh. Mama, come here. Come here. They are just such wonderful companions.
Well, and dog is God spelled backwards.
Look at this little baby.
Oh, is that a Frenchie?
It's all, yes, she's a Frenchie.
Oh my.
And it's all kisses, kisses, kisses.
Oh my goodness. And it's the best companion in the world.
Oh my goodness, she's just so wonderful.
Oh, that is what. Did you have animals and pets growing up as a child?
Yeah, there were always animals. There was always, turtles, dogs, you name it.
Did you have siblings, brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Growing up? So have you shared your diagnosis and recovery with your sisters? Are they, is something that they're looking at maybe to see if there might be, the BRCA gene in the family or anything?
I took the test. Let me put it down. I took the BRCA test because I have a niece that I felt should know. And she didn't even know what it was, what the BRCA test was. Well, but I did it anyway. And it just so happens that it's not genetic, that what I caught was probably, I don't know, from going to high school in New Jersey. I don't know, who knows? There's so much garbage in our food and our air and everything. It just happened. But the BRCA test is really, really valuable. I'm really glad that I did it. And even if she didn't really appreciate that information or know what BRCA was, she has to, from now on, when she goes to the doctor, let them know that her aunt had breast cancer.
Right.
It's something that, a lot of what we go through is genetics. A lot of it is not, but you can't just write it off, you have to pay attention.
Take it seriously. What would you tell a 25-year-old Anna Red?
Oh my goodness. You know that I had this discussion with somebody the other day. Yeah, I guess it was on my birthday. A really good friend of mine said to me, she goes, "Oh, I bet you wonder, what is it like to turn 21 again?" And no, I turned 57 and I'm proud of it. And I said, well, I hope to turn 21 many more times. And she goes, oh, if you only knew then what you know now. And I said, you know what? It wouldn't make a damn difference. It wouldn't make a damn difference because 21-year-old me knew everything and was not going to listen. And she probably wouldn't now. So I just say, you go on, girl, with your fine self. Have fun.
Exactly.
Don't
Do
worry.
it. Do it, queen. That's what I said. What do you want the legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered, Anna Red?
I want to be remembered as somebody who has really inspired people to become their greater selves and to explore, go after their dreams.
Well, you are a dream catcher and not a dream crusher. And I thank you so much for being here with me and the Brains on the Edge, because you've enlightened us, you've educated us, and she can insure us. Please tell my brains, really tell my brains how to get in contact with you. I want them to talk to you. You know, again, like she says, she trains people to be insurance agents. And I heard that could be a nice little piece of cash too. And it's something that you can do as a side hustle outside of your regular 9 to 5, because everybody needs insurance. So how can they get in contact with you, Precious?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ways. They can go to my website, annared.com, and that's Anna with one N, annared.com. All my contact information is there. If they know how to use Calendly, it's a strange, but that calendar app.
Strange name, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange Calendly. Anyway, it's Calendly and then the / Anna Red. You can get on my calendar. You can text me. I prefer text than a phone call. I usually don't answer. Or you could email me at the numeric number 4, annared@gmail.com.
Okay, for annared@gmail.com. We're going to put all of her contact information at the back side of this interview, as well as in the show notes. Thank you for opening up your heart, your chest, your mind, and our wallets to great information. You are a beautiful woman, and I'm so glad that you are there. And your dog is so lucky to have a mommy like you. You guys are going to have many, many wonderful years together. Again, thank you so much, Anna Red. Please come back and keep us updated as to what's going on in your life and the world around you and the world of insurance. Okay?
Thank you so much, April.
All right.
And thank you, Brains.
Brains, get you some insurance, okay? Really, we want to offset that liability. You want to leave a legacy for your family, and you might need to get your car fixed, like me. Bye, guys.
Bye.